Hey folks, good morning all. Today is September 8 and we're in Cluster API provider meeting for IBMCloud. I know it's been a while, we haven't met, so it's almost what, a couple of months. Last time we met on July 14th. Okay, no problem. I think for any further ado, so let's get started. I think quickly, one update is that we released 0.6 release recently. As I think last yesterday. I think not a lot of features we pushed. Mainly it was more of a like the version update and then very few minor features what we delivered. But we did bunch of changes, as in we did fix a lot of E2E stuff and all that. I think we'll go through some of those stuff what we fixed. But otherwise, like, feature wise, not many. We just added one image import command, and then like we added some Power VS cluster can now use custom ports for the API server. So that has been pushed. And of course, we updated to our latest CAPI. I mean, though it is not a feature, I just want to mention because this is a very important update in any given cluster API project, right? So that's why I'm just mentioned the cluster API. We adopted 1.5x release in this 0.6 release so far. Any comments to make or any questions or comments? Okay. That's about the release, and then we'll go through some of the stuff what we delivered so far. I know it's going to be like big list. Maybe I'll just try to keep it focused only for the issues we really want to discuss. Last time we discussed around July, right? July 14. Post July 14, we pushed a bunch of changes anyways. Think we adopted kind, then Kube builder got updated, cluster API got updated. We already discussed. Then we did update our docs, right? I think you'll see something like, basically like, docs or Prajot, you want to go ahead and explain maybe?
Sure, Manju. Yeah. So basically, as a part of our documentation updates to the book now, so what we have did we have adopted a approach similar to the what CAPI is following. So now for every release that we have done, we have a separate documentation link. So basically, so the by default, the document will point towards the latest stable version, which is v0.5, which was there. So I think we need to move that to 0.6 now after the yesterday's release. So we'll do that in the next update. Yeah. So basically, every release will have its own documentation link, separate link of that particular release version. And then the main branch will always point towards the latest work that we do on the main branch. So this is in sync with what CAPI follows. So every release will have their own documentation version, and whatever is the latest table will be the default one will point towards. Yeah.
Yeah, so a couple of things we want to do it right there, Prajot. I think like previously we were doing like every time we go and update the DNS for that release and all that. So I think this time we're going to have this fan out, right? Fan out or whatever we call it as like the path based
Yes.
for every release, right? I think right now it is all the entire URI is getting changed. But going forward, we'll have slash release or whatever version. So do we know what needs to be done for that?
So Manju, I think for now, yeah. So this is based on the suggestions that you had got from the folks who are handling the documentation, right, in the Kubernetes orgs. But what they have also done is that so instead of we used to change that DNS in that file, right, in the IO files. What they have done is they have got rid of all those DNS entries, and uh, they have moved the DNS from directly to the Netlify end. From so we don't have to worry about that. we don't have to go and change those entries from now on.
Okay, so what is that required now? So like nothing, we don't need to do anything, or
Yes, yes, we don't need to do anything. So basically, we'll need to introduce that the new yeah, page, right, link right here in this documentation, and the whatever DNS changes that they have done at the backend should once the book gets rebuilt should get automatically triggered. That should be the approach right now because they have gotten rid of all those DNS entries from that document. If you see, I can.
okay, can you just ping me? Like, I mean, it looks
Yes, yes.
interesting anyways.
Yes,
We
yes,
can
I'll share
discuss.
that now. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you can update in the, not sure, maybe in the same bug we were tracking earlier.
Yes, Manju, sure. So let me just see if I can find that.
But to point the current link to 0.6, what we need to change? We still need to change somewhere, right?
No, Manju, I don't think so. I think because they have got they have removed all the entries. So I think when you do a rebuild, right, of this, the book itself, and you add that link, I think via branch specific, it should take place.
Okay, not about the branch. I'm talking about the, let's say this is right now it is pointing to 0.5, if I'm not wrong.
Yes, yes, it is pointing to 0 to 5 now.
So how to make it to point to 0.6?
Let me just go through that issue. Wait,
Okay, no problem, no problem. I think we need to look at that and then see what needs to be done. Anyways, so let's work on that. Okay.
Oh,
So do you mind creating an issue for that?
yes, Manju, I'll create that issue. Yeah, I'll need to update it. Yeah.
Okay. Issue for the doc links. Yes, it's not. Give me a name. It's fine. Let's do that. Then sorry. Next one is, yes, I think this is just a cleanup file. I think we used to have a lot of those scripts and all that. I think we just removed some of those scripts not used. And set logger. This is mainly for setting the logger, right? So quick explanation maybe, Prajot.
Sure, Manju, yeah. So in the latest cap release that they had done, so in that framework they had introduced this logger, right? Logger approach. So basically, so as a part of the release instruction, it was mandatory going ahead to insert your own logger in the test V2E flow. Otherwise it would throw those error because we are using internally the framework, right? Logger framework. So yeah, so basically to avoid those errors, we need to set logger beforehand.
All right. Thank you. Someone added the UT for records. Nice. Fix machine reconciliation bug. Yeah, maybe this one is like, a bug we fixed. So you want to talk about that, Priyat?
So Manju, can you just scroll on top?
Also for the fix machine reconciliation bug. Oh, this is the one for that update the status properly so that we don't go and then create another VM or something like that, right? So that's the.
Yeah, Manj.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, so basically, what was happening in this scenario that the reconciliation logic was getting triggered multiple times. So in the UI, what you are seeing is that once we have triggered the machine creation for the very first time, it was doing reconciliation again and again, and we were getting those errors that machine already exists, or because the create request, post create request has been already triggered, right? So, but it is to still do that repeatedly and is to throw error that the machine name already exists. So basically, this fix was to avoid that. So once the post create request has been triggered, we have to just take care of that. Take care that once the single post request has been created, we don't send multiple post requests again and again continuously to avoid that error and have a better flow in place. Yeah.
I think this is where the place we're setting unknown. If you look at instance is not equals to null, we do a lot of operation. If it is null, I think we're just setting the unknown, and then this is where it will just try avoiding those operations and all that. Okay.
Yeah, so the first time when you send a post create request, the machine will be basically not ready. But if you don't know the status of the machine, we mark it as unknown. So at least some condition is marked on that particular. So we are aware that at least the post create request has been sent before we know the actual status of that.
All right. Thank you. I think seriously we need to refactor our code. Like I think it's been a while. I think we have written this, and then it seems like not really efficient code. So this is like very early code. What we have written? I think we need to take some time and then maybe refactor the entire code, right? So because returning instance null for initial creation and all, it's not a good sign. I think we'll have to maybe sit through this and then understand like how we can really re-architect or redesign the code in a way that it just behave the same way, right, in all the conditions. And definitely we need to maybe spend some time in this release to refactor the existing code. Yeah, let's discuss on that. I think I'll create an issue and then discuss about that. Factor. All right. This is again update to latest version, fix build tags. I think this is just for fixing the tag. We were using wrong tags while building the files.
Yes, Manju. So, yeah, so the exact issue here was that there was one of these dependencies, I think, which was also using tools as a tags internally somewhere. So it was causing some issues for us. So we had rename the tools to be tagged as KPI IBM tools for us. So we avoid that dependency building issue. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for your reference, I think Capi tools is been used in right. So
Yeah.
this is the file I use. All right. And then QBuilder version, I believe. Just updated to a latest version. Refactor the getting started guide. We have done some work there for refactoring, but still I feel like still we need to explore. Like I know we have done some decent job there, but do you think like we are now good, or we still need enhancement? Amulya, Rajut, or I think you can comment.
I actually went through most of all of the pages here, and this needed the most refactoring. So
Okay.
there's others are seeming decent, but maybe we can just try and spend some time to see if there are any areas we can improve.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I think we can ask a newest member, Kishan,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah.
can spend some time and then see like, whether it is easy to follow or not. So maybe you can take some comments or feedback even from some of the other folks who are trying this project for first time, I think, right? And then,
Yeah, Manju, I can probably. I've actually started changing the documents here and there, but yeah, I'll probably work with the team to set up a more, user-friendly kind of docs maybe. Because I had some trouble like following the docs, to be honest. But yeah, I think we can work around that and get things easy.
yeah. See, most of the time, like, see, if you're using it very repeatedly, right, I don't think you will find those difficulties. So it's especially like when you're using it for first time, that's when the difficulty comes in. So
Yeah, true.
yeah, so I think, see, but Kishan, make sure you, before you forget, you just make sure you just, sort of document your
Yes.
difficulties so that you can fix them.
Sure, Manju. I'll probably like if needed, I'll probably sit down and work with the documentation. So that should be totally all right. I'll just check with Amulya and probably the rest of the folks to work on it. So that's fine.
Okay. I'm just assigning things.
So, Manju, on that doc issue links, right?
Mhm.
I just checked it and just update that. What they have done is they have delegated the DNS from that document where we used to update those entries to the Netlify end directly. So now we know we no longer have to make those entries in the that file, right? But it happens via automatic branch deployments from the Netlify end. So, and I think they have selected the default branch as 0.5 in the Netlify itself. So when we do an update from our end to add the latest release 0.6 link and everything, that documentation. So I think I might need to ping them to set that default branch to release 0.6 while building from the Netlify end, because I didn't think we have the access to that, or
Yeah.
yeah, or at least we'll have. But I don't think by default it will move on to the default as a release
Yeah.
0.6. I think we'll need to ping them.
That's exactly my problem is. I mean, it's still there is a manual intervention required, so I'm not sure how to deal with that. I think maybe.
Yeah, I'll check with them. Yeah, I'll do those changes here. I'll see how it behaves, and then I'll ping them and I'll see what can be done. Or is there an option where they can fix it so that every next time automatically it will go move on to the next release?
Yep.
I'll check with them. Yeah.
Cool. Let's do that. Thank you. All right. So that's about getting started guide. This one we did update again the readmes, like so our docs for getting started. Sorry, dependencies. Where is dependencies? Why am I seeing? This must be in developer dependencies. Okay. I think this is what we have list of dependencies mentioned here, which required update, right?
Yes, Manju. Yeah.
Oh, this is nice. I think this looks good. Tools used by E2E is nice. Other tools kind. But this is still, it's not very clear. I know these packages needs to be updated with CAPI, but how often we want to update the IBM packages and then even for other tools, right? Somewhere here we need to have some sort of explanation.
Yeah, Manju, I
And
think you have created that issue, right? And
yeah.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
let's do that. And
Okay.
also what? Yeah, mostly I'm looking at like, I mean, I think in that issue I also mentioned like how often like we need to update and then what
Yes.
release branches we need to update and all that. I think we should have some, um, not sure,
Timelines, kind of thing.
timelines, and then also like most of the,
Commitments to releases.
yeah, I mean support levels, right? I think
Yes.
N and N-1, N-2 and all that. We need to have that information somewhere, not maybe here, but somewhere else. We need to have that information and then also maybe point this doc to there, right? Somewhere Yeah, so
Yeah,
that,
yeah. I'll add that doc, yeah, soon.
okay. But this looks good. I mean, this looks much better than nothing. Good. Hopefully by looking here, I think we can. All right. And disable KCP. Yeah, we did disable this.
Yeah, Manju. So basically in our E2E flow, we were using a template which uses control plane remediation, right? So in case the machine errors out in that scenario, so we get some breather to try out the E2E kind of a retry scenario. But what we have observed it as with the one after the one post 1.5.0 release of CAPI, we had seen that what used to happen in the E2E and also in our manual runs, what we have observed is that once the first control plane machine gets created, uh, somehow that it used to get deleted and it used to create a new control plane machine even if it was in a good healthy state, right? And this kind of used to get stuck in a infinite loop where it just deletes the control plane and recreates a new one all over again and just keeps doing that in a loop. So that was causing too many CI failure for us because the test cases were never able to go beyond that stage. So for now, we have disabled that remediation patch from our E2E template generation. And there is also a issue which I think we have already mentioned somewhere in the issues, right? I think. Yeah, so there is that issue which is already logged in the CAPI repo by one of the community members. So it is still open there. So yeah, so we are trying to uh, wait for an resolution on that one. Yeah. So it's kind of a race condition, I think they have mentioned initially, but they're still debugging on that.
Okay. Okay, so let's make sure we enable that again when they fix that issue.
Yes.
But
And
yeah, looking at the CI, it is really good. I mean, like I have seen
yes,
like
yes.
consistent for us. This is really good. 4, 6, 7.
So
Out of 7, there are 6 passed. That's good.
yes, Manju. Yeah. So CI has been pretty stable lately, even after the disable of that KCP remediation also.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point is. Infra is doing good. Okay. Good. Then couple of updates for this, and then okay. Compatibility matrix got updated. I think maybe we should update again with 0.6.
Yes.
This list is increasing. I'm not sure how to how to maybe optimize this or handle it better. I don't know. This,
Maybe yeah, maybe the one option is to change the column and rows position so that
I don't know. Something.
I'll check on that. Yeah. Maybe if Kishan wants to try it out, simple things.
Yeah, I'll take a look maybe. That should be fine.
Yeah, but this is not something looking good. As in, like we keep having more and more versions, and this might end up like having it. I think here.
Yeah.
Let's see. And yeah, I mean that the support matrix can come here again. So as we were discussing about that, n and n, n minus 2 and all that, right? So that sort of matrix can come here as well. Just like we are supporting, and then which is like out of support and all that, are here or in the docs both place wherever required. Right. This is Golang pump. So this is just a small change in the script. It's fine. I think we updated this dependency we talked about. Restructure the dependency page. And that's again the same page whatever we are looking at. The restructuring has been done. Enable retry of IBMCloud to avoid timeout failures.
Yeah, so what used to happen in the CI2 is that initially we have that IBM Cloud login command, right? So if for some reason login took some amount of time, it used to just time out if there was some connection issue or something, and the entire flow is to fail there itself. But now we have added this additional checks, right? I would say additional feature, like wherein basically we are trying to retry the same command even if it fails the very first time due to timeout. We are just trying to retry it at least for by default it is 3, so it will try that command at least for 3 times before it concludes that it is timing out again and again and we can fail the E2E build. So at least we try to avoid that timeout related issues and build failures due to login issues. And yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But have you seen like anywhere like we tried at least more than once
Yes,
in the run?
yeah, so in one of, not I would say in the stable green jobs, but one of the jobs which failed due to timeouts, right? It actually tried to re-log in again and again, but then yeah, it just timed out eventually.
Okay. I think this one is we have spent good time on this. So Mule,
Yeah, Manju, sure. So previously we had like the cluster templates, there was a lot of code duplication. So this was an effort to like minimize it and have the common parts in two different bases. Like I've created base of PowerVS and VPC on the left side, where the uh, common YAMLs have been there, the resources, and then the patches have gone into each individual cluster template folder. So with customization, I've just framed the YAMLs. So this makes it easier in the future if we want to just add something more to reduce code duplication. Yeah.
okay. A good effort. I think this was required.
Yeah.
Nice. But one quick thing, but E2E we still use the template. No, not anymore, right?
E2E we use a separate template, which is it's not here. I think we can move it here as well. That's also, yeah, it would be good to move it here.
It's in the test folder, I think. Test
Yeah, it's in
folder.
test folders.
But okay. But that's again just the spec, right? I think we don't need, like, we're not having any template there anyways, right?
Yeah, I think we are building it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are building it. I think, yeah, it's just taking the PowerVS. Yeah.
I think this should be fine. I think
Yeah, they should.
we're not having anything here. It's just the customization file. I don't think we had templating. It's just pointing to the same code base anyway.
Yeah.
And this should be fine.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, quickly talk about this one and then the other bug fixed.
Yes.
The bug fix you made for this script.
Yeah, so initially what was happening is here we are logging into IBM Cloud using a default region which is JP Osaka, but then we realized that was sometimes causing an issue. So we are for each Bosco's resource that is being used, we are passing the region also as metadata. So we thought why not use the metadata, I mean the region from metadata to log into IBM Cloud as well, so that we know that we are logging into the right region. And initially that fix was made at line 44. I just added Bosco's region there, but then I realized that we still haven't exported those variables because we actually query Bosco's after later in the script. So then I've added the second, like in line 188 or 88, that only if Bosco's region is present, then set the region as to it.
Okay.
And later we again realized that the naming convention of the Power BS regions and the IBM Cloud region was not matching. So if it's for London, they have IU
Yeah.
hyphen, and then that's when the next fix comes where we altogether remove the region and we're just logging it with no region, logging into IBM with no region. It is in E2E fixes.
Oh yeah, here, right?
Yeah, E2E fixes, yeah. And we altogether, yeah. We just pass in no region.
Cool. Good
Uh,
amount of code went in. So, and then
yeah.
there's some typo also.
Yeah, type for the cluster template refactoring, there was a minor typo.
That's fine. That's fine. Cool. Oh yeah, I mean, what do you, Prajot?
Okay, Anji. So this was the thing, just minor redirections. So I think we moved to initially, I think when the repo was there, the master was the default branch, but then it was renamed to main, right? So I think those entries were still, some of them were pointing to master, but also at the same time, the redirects needs to happen with the entire name, that is Kubernetes 6 also, that part is also required in the URL for the redirect. So yeah, so basically fixing those minor issues. So it was an attempt to see if this was the culprit in that entire multi-release documentation issue that we were tracking, but eventually it was not.
Okay. This is just another change we made, the docs. Oh yeah, this is for the Podman documentation. Thanks, Karthik, for this work. This was really required.
Yeah, I think still it needs some update for using M1 chip. We need to install some additional packages. I think Kirtana with her PR, she will update this document as well.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
This is, I don't see in this because it's only for 0.6 release or main. Not
Yes,
sure.
yes, Manju. I think it went after the 0.5, so it went on main. Then I think main you can find it on, yeah, Podman setup for.
Okay, but Karthik, you mean like
Yeah.
this just doesn't work? You mean you need to have some more instruction?
Yeah, I think for M1, we need to install one more helper method, I think. I'm not sure what exactly is that.
Okay.
Yeah, but Kirtana has idea. She has faced that issue and I think she has documented as that as well.
Okay, so can you just work with her and then maybe just get updated?
Yeah, sure. She will be submitting a PR soon, I think.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Um, okay. Mm. I think let's cherry pick this to older release as well. I think we can do that. We should do that. Pick. Okay. Run generate templates as part of make generate. Like this is just to make sure we generate the templates also part of generate.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
It's cool. It will be helpful for release and stuff. Thank you. But will it also run part of some of the check like PR test?
Yes, it runs as a part of make verify. So
Okay.
make verify calls the generate checks and all of this run. So if
Okay.
they're not updated, then just prompts that you need to run make generate and the PR, I mean whoever's creating, they just run and update the PR.
Cool. So I just want to make sure. Thank you.
I think.
This is update to the latest version. Oh yeah, this seems to be interesting one. So, Rajat, you want to talk?
Yes, Manju. So while I was debugging on that CNI issue and going through the logs of the pods, what I realized was there is initially there was this error that is being thrown in as part of the pods log, right? Where is the length of the pod hostname which was getting generated, right? Was too big or too long, so it was crossing that limit of 63 characters, and it was getting beyond that, so it was getting truncated to a certain to an it was getting truncated to a name which was basically not, I would say, complete, right? So just to fix that entire error or entire issue itself, I have done a small change wherein from having Capi IBM Cloud as a name, so we have just named it as Capi IBM. So we have reduced those, I think, 7 or 8 characters to get it within that maximum length of 63. And yeah, so rest of the pod name, host name lengths were anyways within the limit, but there was this one particular controller manager pod which was crossing that limit. So yeah, I think that should be fixed now. Yeah.
Thank you. And post that, add waiter functions for control planes. So do you want to talk about this as well?
Yes, so this was basically because of the CNI issue. So what we have seen is in our E2 is that so there is this issue where when it tries to apply the Calico CNI, it fails with the error that it is not able to reach that particular IP and timeout issue, right? So we tried a lot of things, but then eventually realized that this may be something kind of a sync issue wherein when you do a kubectl apply but you're not able to reach the kube API server or something for that particular moment, it just says timeouts and it fails. So I reached out to the Killian in the Capi community and asked, so Killian replied from the community that there are two ways we can handle it. One way, so basically the idea was to retry some way to ensure that we can retry the CNI kubectl apply of the CNI, right, the Calico part. So he said control plane waiters is something that we can use. So it was a new thing which we can use, or we can use something. We can do the deployment of Calico as a part of the control resource set itself. So this was the two suggestion that he gave. But then I went with the control plane waiter. So what this does is uh, to the checks that we already have, wherein we check for the by default Capi workflow checks that we have, right, where we wait for the control plane to be provisioned and all. So this add an additional check wherein it actually checks that the API server is actually reachable. So if you look at this code, what it does, it basically tries to do a normal get of the kube systems namespace, right? So if it gets that namespace from the workload cluster, it notes that the API server is up and running, and it is able to fetch the details from the that particular IP and the port which is hosting the kube API server. So if that is working fine, then we can be assured that the API server is responding fine, and then we can move ahead, and that Calico CNI related issue, when we apply for that matter anything, won't throw that particular timeout issue. But if that API server itself is not responding, it will fail at this particular stage saying that API server is not reachable. So
Okay, so this is anyway eventually, and then with wait control plane interval as well, right? I think this waits for that particular time, I believe.
yes, correct.
Okay.
So yeah, so basically
Yes.
it's kind of a way, I would say is kind of trying to see how long, basically trying to do a multiple retries to see if it can reach the API server, and at the same time use the timeout that we have set for waiting for a control planes to be in a ready state or something like that.
Okay, but we haven't. So this the input whatever here, right? So intro also whatever. So this is we are not controlling the time for waiting for that control plane to be ready, right? Is it like some default value?
Yeah, so Amulya, we passed that controller plane intervals, right?
Yeah, we pass it. We pass it in a config file.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Got it. So the one which there in the E2E.
Yeah,
Yes.
which has all the providers information and test. A2E
config file.
config, and then any of them, yeah.
At the end, I think.
And at the end, you can see the weight control plane. Yeah.
Oh, this one? Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Okay. Okay, but without this doesn't really have sort of any value, isn't it? I'm just curious to understand. So because we already have this 40 and all this here, right? But
Yes.
why do we still need this code if we had these values for quite some time, right? It's not being used, or
No, Manju, though those values are being used. I think if you don't specify, I think they have a default value, right, Amulya? If we don't specify this one here.
I'm not sure, but we use these values in our A2E test for waiting. I mean, the wait period are these values. I'm not sure if the cluster API framework has a default if we don't mention.
Okay.
no? That's question is like if we have these values mentioned here, right? So I think by default they should have some sort of control plane waiter method for waiting for such time, and then not sure what is that there. Like say right now we are just sort of assigning this logic here, right? But do we have anything in the control plane by default control plane waiters method? If we don't mention, so do we have any method there?
So for control plane, I'm not sure, but Manju, yeah, I got your point. So basically, yes. So when we do normal E2E flow without this control plane waiters, right, it has their own stages wherein it waits for control plane to be initialized and all. Okay, but then it doesn't have anything to do with the checking the Cube API server is up or not.
Okay.
Okay, so it is just at that infra level or that machine level thing. But even if your machine is in a warning state or active state, or that the scenario depends, right? Even if your machine is healthy, it may not be the case that your Keep API server is up yet, right?
No, not really. I think they must be having some way to check the API server up and running anyways. I think maybe we should
Explore more on that.
yeah, we should explore more on this. That's something is fishy for sure, I'm saying. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's maybe explore further on this. Okay. Got my point, right, Prashant?
Yes, Manju, I got your point. Yeah.
And this PR is just to avoid some of those null pointer exceptions.
Yes, so the issue was raised that if you pass an incorrect value for the resource group ID, and it creates a cluster which is in a provisioning state, but basically when you try to delete it, it throws that nil pointer errors because nothing is yet initialized or created, none of the objects. So yeah, basically dealing with those. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's pretty much what we worked on last couple of months. We have a bunch of items to be taken care, and I see some PRs here as well. I'll take a look into these PRs, and this PR is almost dead till 10th. Don't see anything. But someone was working on this PR, right? Like someone.
Yes, Panja, it was me. The code's ready, and I'm just trying to test the changes and verify if everything's okay. So I'm planning to land the fix sometime early or mid next week. So yeah, I think I'll start working on it and bring it to closure.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
And these things I'll take a look. And again, I need help, folks. I think we need to start reviewing these PRs. I think I know if people are not getting assigned, maybe I'll just modify this owner file itself so that you get assigned. I'll add some more folks here. See how it goes. Discussed issues. No, issues are not discussed. So let's talk about the issues we have. Okay. Now this needs to be assigned milestone maybe. Yeah. 7. Milestones. Send the milestone. Cool. Okay, I just created just created 0.7 milestone as well. So, and then 4 items got assigned there, which are all the. What else we need to address in this E2E failures?
Yeah,
This
so
one got.
yeah, that one got done, and even the I think CNI will observe CI, but I think it should be also fixed.
This also got done, right?
Yeah, so we have disabled that. Yeah, machine health check.
I don't know what is this.
Yeah, so I think yeah, Millie, I think we'll need to check. So that's Manju. It's basically it has nothing. It is not breaking the CI as it is, but it is giving those issues while doing the final cleanup at the very
Yeah,
end.
at the end. Yeah, this part. Yeah, says.
Huh. Don't know. Okay, interesting. But is it happening often or?
I've observed it a couple of times. I mean, it has been happening often, but will check the latest ones.
Oh, this is in the client cluster where you deployed in that pod, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're trying to add on the client cluster.
The worst case, what really happens? It just pod gets deleted and then everything will be gone, or you still have some of those dangling resources somewhere.
We don't. I'm not sure, Manju. We'll have to check.
Okay. And this one is already PR is up and like it's already up for the review. And this is set to come, and this also we have PR ready. Okay, now let's go to next one. Anything for nothing is there. Nothing we have. Cool. Next is the one we need to start exploring. Document the environments where we don't need to E. What is this? I have no idea what I've done.
I think the idea here was to document how we do the entire E2E for the project.
Yeah.
Yeah, where we run it, how we do it. Yeah, so that it is tracked and logged somewhere.
And this should go into the current release. Program handling, labeling. I don't see anything, no action required from this for this right at the moment.
Not from our end at least. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this one I'll take a look. Not pretty sure about this one.
Yeah, it will take some time to figure out like if it is feasible enough to.
Okay.
Yeah, this is something we can explore in this one, Manju, in this milestone.
Okay. Add cluster curve support for VPC. This must be in this release anyways. Who was doing this?
I think
Right.
thing is that same PR which is pending or.
Yeah. And this one.
Kirtana is working on this, Manju. I think she's almost done, I believe.
Can you follow up and then see if we can
Yeah,
close the
sure.
PR?
Sure.
Bootstrap, okay. The Fedora Chorus is now available. I see its builds are like available. We need to explore how we can do it with Ignition thing. But this also required DHCP and a lot of other stuff. So anyone wants to explore this one?
So Manju, do you have any initial docs which I can go through for this,
Uh,
or any reference for that material to just?
yeah, I think Cluster API should have some documentation for Ignition type,
Okay.
right? But I would maybe not sure. It'll be good if someone wants to really understand end-to-end stuff in Cluster API, this is the right time. I think you already have fair understanding, Prajot.
Okay.
So Kishan, do you want to maybe pick up this one?
Yeah, Manju. I'll probably check with Prajot as well. I just need pointers, just like Prajot mentioned. If that's okay, then I should be happy to pick it up.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we can point it for 0.7 release and see how it goes.
Sure.
Instrumentation, yes, yeah, we need some more work. We need to talk to Puneet if he's interested in doing this.
Elementary.
Telemetry data. So but let's see. Let's not really sort of assign to this release right away. We'll explore. I think we have good amount of items. And also I wanted to discuss another thing for this release is that if you look at other provider like AWS and all that, they are also handling these managed clusters, right? For example, like Kubernetes hosted service on EKS or anything like that, right? I'm just wondering if you can have similar sort of, you know, feature in IBM Cloud as well for managing some of the rocks cluster, right? Then we can leverage some of these features like autoscalers and all that, right? Autoscaling becomes very easy when you really have cluster API and then you integrate your autoscaler with cluster API for rocks. That'll be a nice feature to have. Just a thought. So yeah, I'll just create a maybe item for that to explore.
And Manju, that hosted cluster that serves as a management, right?
Yeah, basically right now we just create control plane everything in like client cluster and then whatnot. And sorry, what do you call really client cluster? Sorry, you create your control plane everything like cube ADM way, right?
Yes, correct.
So this is going to be like your let's say like when you create IBM Cloud Rocks cluster or something like that, where it just goes and then calls your IBM Cloud APIs for creating that control plane, and then you'll have node pools and everything created.
Okay, got
Yeah, machine pool or something like that. So yeah, manage your Rocks IBM Cloud OpenShift cluster or Kubernetes cluster via cluster API, right?
Okay,
So then eventually what you can do is that you can create that cluster using cluster APIs, and then you can integrate your autoscaler and other stuff. Based on that, you can sort of make those policies and then whatnot for scale out your cluster and all that. So scale out really means is that it goes and then again does that. So the node replicas, increment and all that in the IBM Cloud APIs. Basically, instead of going and calling your VPC and Power VS APIs, you end up calling your IBM Cloud Rocks APIs for creating your clusters, all that. Managed. All right, I'll explore and then let you guys know how it goes. Okay. Anything else you want to discuss? CI, yeah, we discussed. It's pretty good right now. And then backlog we discussed, releases we discussed, features we discussed. Anything else you want to discuss?
I think from Manju, there is one issue that I'll create it out. That is, for now we do that manual trigger of the test using that test PJ files, right? So if you wanted to test manually, so that uses Docker. But I think I'll try to figure it out how to do that with Podman, because I think once Docker goes, I think even at some point, if we have to do those manual triggers, do some debugging and all, we'll be using Podman, looking at the way the things are going for now. Yeah, so I think I'll create an issue for that, because I think we'll need to have that also documented as part of the E2E work that we do in KP IBM using the Podman.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's PJ, right?
Yeah. Manually testing the jobs or E2E jobs.
Fix the Zoom. Zoom meeting. So this is for me. I don't know. I just need to talk to folks and understand like whether issue got resolved or not. Otherwise, we end up using this WebEx, which is not really updated in events and some of the other links as well, which is not good. Okay. All right. Anything else, guys? Well, if
think
nothing,
We need to add Kishan's name to attending list there.
oh yeah. That.
Yeah. I think rest all is good. Thank you.
All right. In that case, have a nice day, then weekend. Thanks all. Bye.